Right, let's return to something a bit more serious now, and the impact of the 2008 financial crisis. It caused millions of people to lose their jobs and homes in the worst recession since the Great Depression. It affected most aspects of society, including the film industry, changing the number and types of films made, but also inspiring filmmakers to tell different kinds of stories. Do you remember the film The Big Short? That was from 2015. Let's just have a look at a short clip from that now.
The whole housing market is propped up on these bad loans. They will fail.
The housing market is rock solid.
It's a time bomb.
So Mike Burry, who gets his hair cut at Supercuts and doesn't wear shoes, knows more than Alan Greenspan.
Dr. Mike Burry, yes, he does.
You know what? I'm pissed off. American people are getting screwed by the big banks.
And I am getting madder and madder.
It's unbelievable.
Then this guy walks into my office and says,
"There's some shady stuff going down." All the banks were having a big old party. A few outsiders saw it when no one else could. The whole world economy might collapse.
Well, let's talk to James Luxford, a film critic. He joins me now. We'll look at some of the other films, but The Big Short in particular, exposing the greed, I suppose the corruption as well, in a user-friendly way. I mean, is that a theme of the sort of stuff that's been made post-2008?
Absolutely. I think narrative films, particularly made in Hollywood, are first and foremost entertainment. And to present what's happened, which is a very complicated situation that I think most of us still, maybe have some idea, varying degree of knowledge on what happened, but still don't really know. And so you're explaining something, you are kind of maybe not as forensically looking through what happened like a documentary would, but you are trying to make it simpler for people to understand.
And actually, the Big Short has got that sort of feel about it, hasn't it? Let's discuss this. This is what happens, and then let's show that in the sort of the way the characters behave and what they do. The Wolf of Wall Street, Scorsese film, I mean, that really did show the huge excesses of bad behaviour. Do you think that packs a more powerful punch in a funny sort of way?
Absolutely. I think you may not be able to understand facts and figures on a page. Maybe you do. I don't particularly. But I do understand human nature. I think we all do. And what Scorsese is brilliant at doing with The Wolf of Wall Street, although it was set 20-odd years before the financial crisis, it's very much linked to it in that it's this kind of flipping on its head the Gordon Gekko principle of greed is good. He was very much an anti-hero in the 80s. Here in Wolf of Wall Street, we show the kind of mentality that led to the irresponsibility of what was to come later.
You say an anti-hero. I mean, I remember people working on Wall Street and whatever who thought he was a hero. I mean, they didn't get the irony of that at all. But there we go. Margin Call, another film. I think we've got some pictures of that as well. How is this different? And in terms of how the crash affected the funding of films, did it change the way Hollywood has evolved as well? Really just going for big budget deals because they can't afford to make others?
Absolutely. If it's not Avengers and it's going to make $1 billion or $2 billion, it's really not worth it to big studios, and a lot of people in the film industry talk about the wiping out of a middle class of films, maybe $30 to $40 million budget. They're not going to set the world alight, but maybe would find a kind of an audience somewhere. Films like maybe The Big Lebowski or something like that. A little bit quirky, a little bit risky, but worth putting some capital into.
So ultimately, it has dissipated the sort of quality, perhaps, that we would have seen if we didn't have the crash.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, all right, James, I'm sorry, we're out of time, but well worth reading more about the impact on the film industry. That is it for this edition of Impact. We are back in a few minutes with another, which I hope you will join us for as well. See you soon.